what's up, Foreclosure Fix family, and welcome to another episode of the Foreclosure Fix Podcast, where our goal is to help 1 million homeowners successfully navigate foreclosure. Now, if that mission resonates with you, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and share our content with someone who you know it can benefit. Or better yet, leave us a review and check out our latest book called The Foreclosure Fix, 12 Proven Steps to Beat the Bank, Escape Foreclosure, and Turn Your Property into a Profitable Asset. Now, if you are watching this on any platform, you will notice that we're not in our usual setup and that this podcast is not our usual type of podcast. That is because this podcast is actually one in a style that I really like because of the fact that I was able to get with some other money nerds at FinCon recently. And I was able to use that time to get some great interviews with folks that are inspiring and that will help you if you're facing foreclosure. Now, one of the things I want to tell you is that the audio quality may not be the best and the video quality may not be the best. However, the stories and what these folks are telling you is going to be really good. And so please bear with us on the audio quality and on the video quality and know that we'll get back to our same kind of professional quality that we always have in the coming podcast in the coming weeks. And so therefore, please check out this latest episode with some of my great friends who are money nerds who I was able to meet with at FinCon.
Hey, what's up, y'all? DJ Olojo, Foreclosure Fix Podcast. I'm here with my buddy and my friend, Coach Carson. For those of you who don't know Coach Carson, he is a fellow girl dad. He's a husband. He's a huge Clemson fan. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about kind of what he does so you can learn all about him.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me. And I live in Clemson, South Carolina. I went to school there, played football there, so I kind of stuck around. And I'm a real estate investor, and so I got into the real estate business 21 years ago, but I educate people a lot now too, and just trying to teach people about the power of the simple stuff, like taking care of your money, getting out of situations, but then eventually growing that money to have a little more flexibility, more autonomy. And and actually my motto is do what matters. So it's not money is a really stressful thing sometimes, but it really is the point of it is to try to make your life better and try to improve your life and be able to contribute to other people too, which you're doing. So I appreciate what you do.
Hey, no, 100%. So a couple things I want to ask you, right? You get 2 questions today just because it's rare that I get somebody like you to spend time with on the podcast. Question number 1 is you help a lot of people kind of figure out how to do what matters, right? And so in your opinion, what matters kind of for you every day and for your life and how you view kind of the world?
Yeah, family is a big one for me, and yes, being a dad, I have 11 and 13-year-old daughters, and so it's having the time to be able to spend in between time. A lot of times it's little stuff, it's not the big dramatic. Although we go on some trips and do things like that, it's just like, hey, they got home from school. There's like that 3-minute time where they'll actually talk to you when they get home from school. Sometimes it's 5 words, sometimes it's
totally understand.
And like 1 out of 10 times they start talking to you a lot, and you're just being there for them. So like that's pretty cool. I feel like I know everybody's in different situations, but to have the ability to do that matters to me. And also teaching and coaching matters a lot. I've had a lot of great teachers and coaches over the years, sports coaches, teachers in classes, and I feel like they make such a big impact on you. And so for me, I'm not in the classroom technically at school, but I love having like light bulb moments for people and where they get it and they have an insight, and I get to be a part of that and kind of be their guide for that. That's just really cool.
No, I totally agree with those small little moments that you like never plan, never expect, but they are awesome. So the big question my listeners probably want to know from you is if they're facing foreclosure, they're facing a challenging financial situation, whether it's their personal home or investment property, kind of what's your best advice for somebody who's facing foreclosure, who's going through a challenging time to navigate that season?
Yeah, I think there's probably 2. There's an emotional part of it, and there's a tactical part of it, like what to do. But the emotional part of it is like you're not an idiot, you're not a bad person, you're not like just realizing like everybody has like some kind of situation where they get their back against the wall. Some of it is just bad luck, some of it's other things, but like just realizing like, hey, I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people going through this kind of stuff. Then once you do that, then you can be like, try to be a little bit more objective about you have options. Like there are different ways. And many times when you get in the corner and you're backed into a corner, it's about just like clearly thinking like, what are my options? And trying to say, because, I know for speak for myself, and when I get really like, in my head, like I stop thinking. I stop thinking about what the ideas are. Whereas you got to be creative when your back's against the wall. You got to say, all right, there's 3 ways I could do this. Here's one. This person is the person I need to talk to. So that there are ways out of that. And I know you help a lot of people give some of those options. Some of it might just be, I just need to listen to this podcast. I need to take a break. I need to take a deep breath. I need to call this person who I trust. I would just say, like, get your head clear and then just write down your option. I like to write stuff down. If I'm thinking, I'm kind of stressed out, write it down. Write down those options, and then just do one little thing. Like don't try to conquer the world. It might just be like make a phone call, take a walk, go meet this person. Like just that one little step. Then do another one. Then do another one. It's like everybody hears about baby steps, but I think once you get emotionally kind of calm a little bit, you got your options on a piece of paper, and just take a little baby step and those little baby steps will lead to eventually, getting out of that corner and figuring out a way to get out.
Awesome, man. Well, y'all heard it directly from Coach Carson. Do me a favor. Let them know how they can find you, like you, subscribe to your content.
Thanks. I'm on YouTube. If you search for Coach Carson, that's the best way to find me. Also, CoachCarson.com. I have a lot of free content on real estate investing, buying your first deal, just real estate in general. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, that's what I'm all about.
Y'all check out Coach Carson. He's also modest. He has a couple books out there, so look him out everywhere you can find books.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? DJ Olojo, Foreclosure Fix Podcast. I'm here with the one, the only Sarah Losey. Sarah is an entrepreneur, and she's going to give you some great advice today. What's up, Sarah?
How are you? It's good to see you.
Hey, I'm doing awesome. Please introduce yourself to our audience so they know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I am the founder of Favorite Daughter Media and the author of Open This Book, The Art of Storytelling for Aspiring Thought Leaders.
So she's an author. She's an entrepreneur. Sarah, what is your best advice for somebody who's an entrepreneur who may be facing difficult times?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think ego sometimes gets in the way of our decision making, especially when we've already made the decision to go out on our own. So if you are struggling and you're not bringing in the income that you need, there is no shame in going back to a W-2 job to hold you over until things start to pick up again.
Hey, that's good advice from your favorite daughter. Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? DJ Olojo, Foreclosure Fix Podcast. I am sitting here with my buddy Paul. And Paul is an entrepreneur, real estate investor, and he went through a traumatic experience. And so, Paul, let my listeners know all about it, what you learned, and how life has been for you since then.
You got it, DJ. So about 2 years ago, I was criminally defrauded by a friend of all total in varying methods, $1.5 million. And there were 200 other investors that were affected as well. And in fact, that friend was also being defrauded. When he figured it out, he went to the feds, he got involved. He's still implicated, so he pled guilty. But that, for me and the other investors, caused a lot of turmoil and definitely a challenge. And to be clear, I didn't have just $1.5 million that I gave to the guy and said, "Here, go invest this."
Absolutely.
And most business people don't. They already have those funds deployed. All of those monies were borrowed. So when that happened, my credit score tanked, and creditors started suing and saying bad things about me, as is their right, since I also defaulted on their loans. So the $1.5 million defrauding, I just as I process it a year or two later, is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And the reason for that is there's a few, but the first reason is it helped me prove and shore up what I already believed when I had an 836 credit score and was killing it in business. And when that was the case, it was my perspective that my identity is not my 836 golden credit score. 100%. And my identity is not that I'm a successful businessman. It's that my identity is I'm a child of God that strives to treat people well. And I don't do that perfectly, but that's the goal. So now on the other side of that, with a 536 credit score and a seven-figure mistake, I'm able to say the same thing. I don't take on as my identity that nasty credit score. I certainly take responsibility that I'm why that credit score is there. So they can sue and they can say things about me, as is their right. But the point is, I don't internalize that. And the second reason why is because business is a game. And I don't mean to trivialize people that, their livelihood depending on the business, but I'm just saying, when you can gamify life and gamify business, it's like it takes the stress away, and now you'd be more comfortable taking more risks.
Yeah.
So I lost that quarter, but at the same time, it really didn't hurt me very much because I had so much debt and things set up properly. There's really not a whole lot for creditors to take. So we drive along.
And y'all heard it directly from Paul. You can go through bad things, come out on the other end, a strong person, a better person, and more importantly, you can tell because Paul is still calling this guy who defrauded him for $1.5 million a friend, right? You know,
that's right. And for a few months during this thing, I called him a former friend. But one of my strengths in this, and I think why I've been able to rebound, is one of the first things I did was forgive him. And his wife, when I was visiting with him not too long ago, his wife told me that I was the only person that reached out with forgiveness for him and support for her. And I said, well, Susie, understand two things. One, I'm also a man in need of forgiveness. And two, I'm already having to carry some of the burdens from the defrauding. I can't also carry your husband. He weighs like 400 pounds. That would not work. So she appreciated that.
Hey, forgiveness is key. Move forward, and good things are bound to come your way.
Hey, what's up, Foreclosure Fix family? DJ Olojo here. I'm here with Virginia Elder, and she is an entrepreneur, and she has some great advice for those people who may find themselves in a situation that they never expected. But before we talk about that, can you do me a favor, Virginia?
Yes.
Let our listeners know about you, how they can find you, and kind of what you do.
Okay. I am Virginia Elder, the owner of Podcast Abundance, which we produce financial podcasts and YouTube channels. So that's my primary business. My show is Reaching Abundance, where I talk to business owners about their business journey and about what their podcast is doing for their business. So I will have you on very soon.
Please do.
Absolutely. And what else? Do you want me to just answer the question? Or?
Well, so yes. So the question I have for you, right? And you're taking over my show. I'm not mad at it. You're a professional. You do it better than me anyway. But the question I have for you is, many of our listeners find themselves facing foreclosure or facing hard financial times. Mm-hmm. And many of our listeners are business owners. They're self-employed, and, business is tough. And so in your experience, when you have seen people face difficult times in their business, what advice do you give them? What things have you seen people do to really rebound and keep pushing forward during a difficult time?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so from the business perspective, business finance perspective, I want people to treat it much the same as you would your personal finances. I'm hoping you have some business savings set aside that, when you lose a client or when something happens that's kind of unexpected, you have a little bit of savings that you can choose to bring home that money. You can choose to hire a contractor, do whatever you need to do to get over that hump. If you're faced with a situation where you don't necessarily have that savings set aside, I always highly recommend going back through some of your recent spending. Maybe you can find subscriptions that you're not fully using that you can cancel for a couple of months and get you a little cash flow back and help get over that hump. So I'm always combing through my expenses as a business owner on the personal side, like family home expenses, but then also business expenses, try and find something there to go ahead and take a leap forward and make some extra cash real quick in a hard situation. Sometimes you got to get creative sometimes, right? So in my case, we do podcast and YouTube production. A kind of quick win product that I can offer quickly is a podcast audit or a YouTube audit. So I will literally comb through what people are producing. It's a smaller ticket item. It's easier for people to purchase. And so I created that offer, in a time when business was a little bit slow. Maybe I'm not getting the big ticket launches or whatever else is going on, but I can still give people value for a smaller ticket, and I can actually handle more of those in a month than I could a full launch. So, yeah, just get creative.
Hey, y'all heard it directly from an entrepreneur. In business, it's difficult, it's hard, you got to get creative, you got to watch your numbers, and you got to pay attention to that bottom line. But just know you can get through it, and maybe for a small season, but on the other end, it's a great reward. Virginia, I appreciate you. Let our listeners know where they can find you, how to like, how to subscribe, how to check you out.
Thank you. Podcast Abundance on Instagram, podcastabundance.com, and then on LinkedIn, Virginia Elder.
Awesome. Y'all, we are at FinCon 2024 here in Atlanta. I'm talking with the best content creators, the best folks in the whole financial industry doing content for homeowners like you who may be facing difficult times, for people out there who are trying to get their finances together. And I'm so grateful to people like Virginia for swinging by and hollering at your boy. Hey, thanks so much. And that leads me to the end of the podcast. Hey, I am so grateful for you all listening. I appreciate you checking out the stories from these money nerds, and hopefully they're inspiring. Hopefully they let you know that you are not alone and that there is hope for you. The views and opinions on this podcast are for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal advice. If you have a specific legal question, we highly recommend you contact a qualified legal professional.